everybody. Welcome back. I am Donna L., and I am hanging out with you all day, actually the next 2 days, with Expo Chattanooga. And, of course, we are virtual, and I'm so excited about this interview. President and CEO of U.S. Xpress. We have Eric Fuller. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good. I'm really excited to talk to you because there has been a lot of changes over the past few months. And what I know about Chattanooga's home base, we're really resilient, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what U.S. Xpress is, because we make an assumption about what you guys do in our area or and outside.
Yeah, so U.S. Xpress was founded in 1986 and based here in Chattanooga. Today we have nearly 10,000 employees. We're located nationwide, also operate in Canada and Mexico. And we have about 1,400 local employees here in Chattanooga.
1,400 local, and how many national or international total?
Just a hair under 10,000 when we count all of our drivers.
Oh, wow. That is absolutely amazing. So COVID hit around March. Our city was aware of it. Our country was aware of it. Our world has been affected by it. You went from everybody pretty much working in the office.
Sure.
And that changed. What are you guys doing right now?
So February 28th, I remember the date. We were talking about what we were seeing in the news in relation to the pandemic. And at that point, it was pretty early on. There were a few states that maybe had a couple cases, but it wasn't really widespread. But we put together on that day a task force to start exploring what we needed to do in response. And originally it was more of a let's keep the lights on strategy. Let's focus on the people that we would need to just keep the business moving. And the thought process is there's no way this would last more than a week, right?
Well,
so let's put something together that we can get people operating maybe from home or virtually in some form or fashion, but we're only going to need a skeleton crew just to kind of keep the lights on for a period of time while we get kind of through the backside of this. So that was what the task force was put together to do. They started putting that strategy together, and after about a week, we went back to them. They, at that point, had pretty much most of the strategy around that first core group, which is our operations people that interact with our drivers, trying to keep them out on the road. We went back to them and said, hey, let's take this globally, and let's think about the whole company, and let's put together a plan. And we did, and by March 15th, we decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and let's go ahead and put everybody back at the house or at the house.
Can I ask you, can I stop there for a second? So you said you put together this task force. So somebody is watching now and said, okay, task force, okay, I know we have to bring, maybe senior leaders together. I know we got to bring a few people from the team. Who did you have, meaning as far as their, I don't want to say job description, but who did you have on the team when it came to the task force?
Sure, we had our chief legal officer and we had our head of audit. They were the ones that kind of put the team together, and I think there were probably 6 or 8 people on the team, and there's facilities people, it's kind of the broad spectrum.
Right.
But we were able to, like I said prior, I had never been a big believer in working from home. I mean, and occasionally we would have people that ask, hey, can we work from home, or can I have certain people work from home? And usually the answer was honestly no.
Right.
And I was one of those.
Why was it no?
And I was always one of those people that felt like I can't really manage from a group of people if they're at the house. I really never felt really comfortable with the thought that things were getting done at the house, all of those kind of things. I think it's the normal kind of course of business, right?
Would it be enough?
And so really we were almost forced to make this move. And when we did, we went to full work from home, 1,400 people. We put working at home within 2 weeks from the time we had started the process. We had to order like 600 laptops. There was a lot of, there's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
But we put these 14 people at home, and what we found was our production actually got better.
Really?
And it was part because we put together a very rigorous schedule that we expected people to follow when they got to the house. So one thing was daily touch points with each one of your employees through Microsoft Teams, which is which you're able to see each other, a video chat. And we said every single day you've got to talk to each one of your employees through a video chat. for at least 10, 15 minutes, check in with them, talk to them, tell them what needs to be done, make sure that you guys are connected and communicating. And then at least twice a week, you need to have a group meeting, again, over video chat, so that you guys can make sure that the whole department's aligned and those type of things. And we saw our production shoot up. Right. And what I believe now is that proximity led people to believe they were communicating, but they weren't actually communicating very well. So if I'm sitting in a cube next to you,
I don't have to talk to you.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
And so I think you know what's going on because I'm next to you. But the reality was there was a lack of communication. And so we were forcing this communication, which might have been, stilted at first, but it led people to being more connected and to understand more about what we were trying to do and how we were trying to do it than ever before. And so our employees now say they've never been more communicated to, they've never been more aligned, they've never understood what we were trying to do and how we were trying to do it than they do today. And partially because we were forced to over communicate, and that over communication actually bridged the gap from where we were in the office, which honestly I recognize today was we were pretty weak on communication.
Oh, wow. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about what you've learned from all this, but I do want to say, what I do appreciate that you guys did. You already had this task force. You already had your group. You already had your plan for your senior leaders. You already had your plan for your management team. So there's another dynamic that I'm interested to hear from you about is people have families in their homes now. Were you hesitant about that? Because, I've been on Teams calls and I'm like, hey, who's the little baby in the background,
Right.
And so you're getting a chance to actually see people's families now, and people are teaching a little bit during the day. So have you guys been pretty flexible with that as well, with your employees?
We have. So we were kind of forced to there at the beginning, right? So you really just kind of had to do what you had to do in order to survive those first couple of weeks as we went into shutdown through the pandemic and into April. And then we started. Originally, we told everybody we're going to go home, and by May 1st, we're going to go back into the office. And then a few weeks into it, we moved that
date
to
back
June
again.
1st, right? And we wanted to make sure that we were about 45 days out from giving people kind of a date on when we would go back to the office so they could prepare for it and prepare for childcare and those type of things. And so we kept pushing the date back. And then about mid-July, we made the decision based on our concern about the schools in the fall. We went on and made a decision that we're not sending anybody back into the office until at least January. And the reason we made that decision was really because we're watching the situation with the schools. We had some conversations with the superintendent and really understanding how they were going to manage the fall school semester, and felt like it would have been a burden to force people back, even absent potentially the health related reasons. We felt like it would be too much of a burden to force people back into the office, and felt like let's go ahead and let people know now that we're going to stay home through the fall semester from a school perspective, and that would give people at least the ability to start planning for what that looks like.
As a president and CEO, I know your employees are top of mind, which is a great thing. But did you ever think you would be in a position where you had to think about people's children going back to school and the health of every one of your employees and safety precautions and things like that?
Absolutely not, right? I mean, it's never really been, for our standpoint, I mean, school's one of those things that you really don't think about. And honestly, to be fair, you really don't even think about how people are managing their home life. I mean, you care about people's families and everything that they have to do at home, but you don't really think about how they're managing their home life. And in this situation, that has to go into it, right? So we have to think about what their home life situation is. I mean, we sent out a big company-wide survey, and we talked about people about, hey, what is your work condition? Are you sitting at a kitchen table, or do you have like a special room?
Great.
Do you have chairs that are comfortable? Trying to give people access to, whether it's chairs or any kind of other, concessions that we could make to try to make things a little bit easier. We didn't really want people that were, sitting in a sofa in a living room with 4 kids running around, but, you kind of have to do what you have to deal with. There were a handful of people that for whatever reason couldn't work from home, and we made our office available. But I mean, you're talking about a large office with only a handful of people now.
Right.
And so, we were able to keep distancing and that. But really, I think we have 40 or 50 people in a building or two buildings that used to have over 1,000 people.
Right.
We've got 40 or 50 people working.
You are just giving me, nuggets that we can't just, pass by. One of those things you talked about was a survey. And one thing that I absolutely love is when I work for organizations that want to hear from the people that they work with. And that was key with that survey. How long after the pandemic did you guys decide to do the survey when they were working remotely? So
we've done a couple. Our first, I remember we asked, and this was fairly early on, as we started thinking about going back into the office, and it's probably May, we sent out a survey and said, do you want to, yes or no, do you want to go back into the office, or would you rather stay at home until at least, until there's a vaccine or there's some resolution of the pandemic? And it was 50-50.
Right.
50 people said, I want to stay home. 50% said, I want to go back to the office. And the people that said, yes, I want to go back to the office, we said, okay, but if you want to go back to the office, if that looks like wearing a mask, having to space out desks,
right.
You can't sit with your friends in the lunchroom, you have to, we can't use the company gym. Like, if it means all of that, do you want to go back?
Right.
And of the people that said yes, 80% then said no. Said, in that environment, I don't want to go back. And so we took that to heart, and that's when we pushed it kind of back into the summer. And then the next survey was about the fall schools and how people would manage. And we asked, asked our people if they had school-age children, and if so, did they have a way to manage those children or manage their schoolwork if they were going to be in some sort of, school from home, whether it be a hybrid solution or they're full-time virtual. And, most of our people were that responded, we're going to struggle. And so we try to do everything we can to try to set it up. So, and we had a couple of employees that were in positions that are full-time 8 to 5 on the phone. They have to be on the phone. And they said, I can't do that and take care of my children. So we looked for alternative roles within the company so that we could swap them out.
Really?
So really try,
that is awesome.
Well, you just have to do what you got to do in this environment, right? This situation is so unique. And we've actually been busier through the pandemic. We were a company, we didn't do any layoffs, we didn't do any furloughs. In fact, our business has taken off since this has occurred. And so if anything, we have to be more productive. So we're trying to do everything we can to try to accommodate and do everything we can for our employees, and then also try to keep the business running.
Right. This is Expo Chattanooga. If you're just chiming in, I'm having a great conversation with Eric Fuller, President and CEO of U.S. Xpress. And, Eric, there's so many leaders in Chattanooga. And when I hear the passion that you have saying, I didn't furlough anyone, because some companies had to do that, but you were willing to make a change with those positions and make sure that you met people's needs at the time. When I think about something that you mentioned previously was that you have one-on-one, you make sure that your team members have one-on-one calls weekly. And when you guys first started out, has that changed since, how hectic it was, or the consistent calls at the beginning? Have you guys backed off of those calls, or do you still do them just as much, as frequent?
So I think we're doing them a couple times a week. So when we started, I had a call with my team at 9 a.m. every single day and at 5 p.m. every single day. And that became too much. It was good for the first couple of weeks because we didn't know what was going on, right? We were trying to manage through the chaos. But after a couple of weeks, we dropped off of the morning calls, and then now I have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday call with my team at 5 o'clock, and we've kept it to that. I would say if we go back into the office, we're going to keep that cadence because it's really helped with communication and connectivity and everybody kind of staying aligned. One of the other big things that we did, and I've always been open about doing town halls and trying to let people come in and ask questions and try to understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it and those type of things. And so we used to have a quarterly town hall. We went to a weekly town hall for a time being, and now we're doing town halls about every 2 weeks. And we're doing those over Zoom. And the rule is I'll answer any question. So there's no questions off limits. Sometimes they get a little bizarre. Some people ask, I think, what was it? A few weeks ago, somebody said, what was it, LeBron or Michael Jordan? So people ask questions like that.
To get to know you.
Those are fun, right? but it's good to get in there and let people just ask any question, and I'll sit in there and I'll talk for an hour, sometimes even 2 hours, but it really helps from a communication and connectivity with our employees. And like I said, these are part of the reason that I think people are saying, hey, I've never been more communicated, I've never been more aligned, because if anything, we're over communicating, but I think in this environment, you really don't have a choice.
Yeah. How long have you been in your CEO position, and how long have you been at the company?
Sure. I've been in my role since 2017.
Okay.
And so
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, and we went public in 2018.
Okay.
So so that's been and it's an interesting dynamic to be public and be in this dealing with this pandemic and those type of things, and because you're a little bit more in the spotlight, right? You have to be a little bit more intentional and a little bit more open about the things you're doing, so that's added a little bit of a dynamic that's probably a little more difficult, but been in that role since 2017, and prior to that I was COO for a few years, and just for the most part of worked through different roles and operations within the company.
All right. I think about all the different things that you've probably had to experience in a crash course of 5 months, probably 6 months. So 2 questions. What have you learned as leading the team, and what have you learned from your employees during this pandemic?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest takeaway is to develop a plan and be really intentional about it, and don't let kind of fear, I think a lot of times with this situation, I talk to a lot of people that are afraid to make decisions and afraid to make changes, and that was one thing we did not do. We didn't freeze at all. In fact, we went from 0 to 1,400 in 2 weeks, so it was really, once we kind of charted a course, it was go, 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 and we didn't look back. And I think, at least in this kind of environment, I think that's important.
Okay.
I think the other thing is the communication piece, right? And like I said, I learned earlier that we probably weren't communicating all that well in the office. So when we go back into the office, we're going to have forced communication points, and we're going to over-communicate, and we're going to probably keep a lot of the things that we've done while we're home once we get back into the office. And also, I have learned that you can manage with work from home, right? So we are in the process of now trying to figure out what our work from home strategy is post-COVID. That may be 12, 18 months down the road, who knows? But we're in the process of working that out, and we may be 40, 50, 60% of our workforce may stay at home.
How do your employees feel about that? Have you mentioned this to them at all, or are they excited about it?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's a mix. I think, like that initial poll where it's 50-50, it's probably 50-50, right? Half the people would like to stay at home and work from home, and half of them are going, get me out of here, I want to be in the office, right?
Right.
And, but I think we're going to manage through that. And so we're looking through, from a department level, which departments we're going to have work from home and which departments we're probably going to have work in the office. And there may be even some hybrid solutions where people work a couple days in the office and a couple days at home. And so we're working through that now. But that's changed the complete dynamic of my mindset just 6 months ago, where I was like, absolutely no work from home, to maybe we have 700-800 people working from home permanently.
Oh, wow. You said that you guys are doing better with revenue compared to last year's numbers at the same time. What did you do anything differently there, or do you think it's just the productivity of your team?
Yeah, I think it's a couple things. One, the productivity is up, and so that has helped things. We were an essential business that obviously stayed open the entire time, and we're very heavy in the grocery retail. And so when the pandemic hit and the shutdown hit, we got busier, right? So we do a lot of business for like Walmart and Kroger and people like that. And so our business really took off when we were in the shutdown, and our customers are booming like probably much larger than they have in a long, long time because of the sector that we participate in. And so that's helped as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So other business owners might say, you know what? The people that we work with, they're booming, but we're having a hard time.
Sure.
Give us some advice, Mr. Fuller. Give us some advice. What would you say to them?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're very fortunate, you know, and I'm in, you know, a couple of groups where I talk to other CEOs and other business owners, and everybody has kind of a different situation that they had to deal with. We were very fortunate in the type of business we were in and the type of customers that we had. And we had done some of the groundwork from a technology standpoint that allowed us to do the work from home. Had we not digitized some of our operations and done some of the systems upgrades and things that we did just in the last 12, 18 months, we would not have been able to make this move. So we were fortunate and lucky in a lot of cases. And so I don't know that it's necessarily, in some cases it's luck, and I feel sorry, you know, for people that are in, especially like manufacturing and other areas where they can't have the luxury of sending everybody from home, right? They have to have people out at the offices and in their facilities, and that's tough. But we've been fortunate that we had this luxury to be able to manage this way.
When you think about innovation in your industry, where do you see your industry in the next 3 years? Or 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, self-driving trucks. Like, I mean, I know you guys have a gauge on that. Tell us more.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things happening in transportation, logistics, and trucking. So probably the last 3 years, there's been more money invested from Silicon Valley and venture capital in transportation logistics than in any other industry, and I believe the number is upwards of $6 or $7 billion just in the last 2 years. And so there's a lot of money going into it because it's a highly fragmented business with not a lot of market leaders, and there's a lot of opportunity. And it's our sector is an $800 billion overall annual revenue, and so there's a lot of opportunity there, and so a lot of capital is getting thrown into this market. And there's a lot of things like autonomous trucks and electric trucks, and on the equipment side, a lot of new innovation type things. And as a company of our size, we're always trying to be on the forefront of that, trying to understand what's going on, what's getting applied to our industry, what are the opportunities. And so today, there's a couple of things that probably in the next 3 to 5 years we're going to see that's going to be somewhat widespread within our industry. There's electric trucks, there's hydrogen trucks. So there's hydrogen that's coming out probably within the next 2 to 3 years that will, I think there's infrastructure concerns we'll see, but it's really interesting. We work with a company called Nikola who's kind of pioneering the hydrogen trucks. And then there's autonomous trucks. And we have announced a partnership with a company called Too Simple that is, in my mind, the leader with the autonomous trucks, and we believe we could have an autonomous truck out of the road within 3 years.
Oh,
now,
really?
It won't be, all of a sudden it won't be every truck out on the road is going to be operating themselves.
Yeah, right.
But there will be, within the next 3 to 5 years, there will be trucks operating completely autonomously without a driver, either in the truck or the driver is there from a safety perspective, but the truck is completely operating itself. And I've ridden in a truck in Arizona for about an hour and a half, fully autonomous. There was a driver there just in case, but he didn't have to take over at all. The truck drove itself on and off the interstate, through downtown, Tucson, Arizona, back on the interstate, completely autonomous. So the technology is there.
Right.
And you're going to see that get rolled out over the next couple of years in the industry.
How do we prepare the leaders of tomorrow for something like that?
Yeah,
how are you guys preparing the leaders?
Right. I mean, part of it's infrastructure, right? So whether it be these other types of fuel, the electric requires a completely new electric grid to support. If you go to hydrogen, then you got to build out the infrastructure for that. And then from an autonomous standpoint, the roads and bridges and everything really need to be adapted for that type of environment. And so whether it's a truck-only lane or things like that I think over time you may see, those are the things that are going to happen in order to really get the full benefit of this type of technology. Right. And I'm not quite sure if at this point, you got government and private business, and I think sometimes they kind of speak past each other. And so I think you're not quite at the point where all of that is aligned, but I think once it becomes real and people understand that it's going to be here and you can't stop it, then I think you start to see that adoption and adaption.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So your time at U.S. Xpress and everything that you've learned thus far, in your previous roles or in your previous experiences here, what prepared you for this pandemic? Is there anything specifically that prepared you for the pandemic?
I don't know if anything prepares you for this, right? But I think
they say big companies are ready. So is that true?
No, I don't know that we were ready. No, we had the capabilities. Like I said, I could take a task force of 6, 8 people and tell them you're going to do nothing but this for the next 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
If I'm a small company, I can't do that. So that is probably the point to where you could say big companies are ready because they had the resources to make that type of commitment,
right,
where others wouldn't be able to. And I think that's probably where you can say that the big companies can do things that smaller companies can't for that reason. They have the capital, they have the people, and they can, allocate those resources.
Right. So you are in this amazing industry and you're doing well. So now it's time for me to ask, just get to know you questions.
Okay.
Is it LeBron or Michael?
Oh, Michael.
All the way.
I couldn't even believe somebody asked me that, right?
Right. Favorite thing to do on a weekday morning to get yourself ready for work?
If I get up in time, I would like to exercise, right? Whether it be go jog, or I actually have a paddle board and I can go out on the river. I live right by the river, so I can go out on the river sometimes early in the morning, and it's like glass. It's amazing. So I'll do that sometimes. But,
nice. Yeah. Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
iPhone all the way. Favorite cereal?
I guess granola.
Okay.
Generic granola.
Okay. And favorite artist to listen to at the best time of your life?
I'm probably more of like a classic rock, so like the Rolling Stones.
All
or something.
right. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for this time. And is there anything else you would like to share with our viewers today? And we appreciate everything that the Chamber is doing for this expo.
No, I mean, obviously we're big supporters of the Chamber and everything that the Chamber does for the community and for businesses is really important to us. I mean, one of the things that as we go through a lot of this transformation and a lot of the different types of technology, there's a lot of new needs from a personnel standpoint for a business like ourselves, whether it be developers or things like that, that Chattanooga doesn't have a plethora of. And so the Chamber has really taken it on to try to develop and train a lot of employees that we really need in this community, not just at U.S. Xpress, but I think community-wide. I mean, I think technology is going to advance so much in the next 5-10 years, not just in our industry, but in all industries.
Exactly.
And we've got to be a community that has that type of talent. And I think that by supporting the Chamber, I think they can help to bring a lot of those people into the community.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you talking to me, and I had a good time getting to know you, Eric.
Good. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, Chattanooga Expo. This is Brian Milliken with Tranco Logistics. We're an asset-based truckload carrier here in Chattanooga. We also handle international freight forwarding. We're in a domestic brokerage and also about 2 million square feet of warehouse space here in Chattanooga. We also have a full drayage team. So if we can help with any of your supply chain needs, just please let us know. You can reach us at trancologistics.com and we would love to help. Thanks a lot.
At PMI, we specialize in residential and commercial property management services for the greater Chattanooga area. PMI provides exceptional service with unparalleled communication and professional knowledge on a local level. We strive to maximize and protect your investments by finding qualified tenants and understanding the value of your individual property.
Follow the link to our website to learn more about Property Management Incorporated at Chattanooga. We look forward to working with you.
At EMJ, we are a family of construction service companies. Our purpose is to be people serving people. And for more than 50 years, we've charged our nationwide team to be servant leaders who lead by example and inspire and serve others. We believe we do our best work by building strong relationships through our service to others and are guided by 3 enduring values. We are selfless. We trust and empower each other, build strong teams, and lead by example. We are trustworthy. We are accountable and work to be good stewards for our clients. We are gritty. We are more interested in doing what is right than what is easy. We strive to deliver unique value to our clients, partners, and colleagues. Through collaboration and stewardship, we provide construction services customized to our clients, aiming to exceed their expectations. So who is EMJ Corporation? We're a family, focused on our clients and delivering exceptional experiences. Learn more at emjcorp.com.
If you're running your own business, you know that dealing with trucks isn't easy. One day you have too many trucks. One day you don't have enough of them. Even a truck needing repairs can cause lots of problems. How will you haul your products? That's where Ideal Lease of Chattanooga steps in. Our fleet of well-maintained rental trucks is the perfect solution for you. We have box, flatbed, and refrigerated trucks, as well as day cab and sleeper tractors, dry van trailers, and more, to fit your needs for a day, a week, a month, or even longer. With over 400 plus U.S. Ideal Lease affiliate locations, we are with you every mile. Next time you need a truck, think Ideal Lease of Chattanooga. www.idealleaseofchattanooga.com.
Hi, Senior Vice President of Sales and Chattanooga Branch Manager Grayson Garrett here, and we are Trident Transport. Trident is a full-service logistics company headquartered here in the great scenic city. Inc. 5000 just recently named us as the fastest growing company in Chattanooga, and we positioned ourselves to be one of the best places to work in this community. We're excited to be here at the Expo Chattanooga. Come see us.